I'm gonna go over the research that I found for this past week since we last met. I have proposed a new case study that I believe that could fall under category two, which was the research on sound as place, or category number three as sound as constructing a form of experience. I guess it really depends on which category we decide to pursue further. So I think exploring slot machine sounds as a construction of place or a trigger for gambling addiction kind of can be molded to be in either one of those two subcategories. So I went through the internet and looked through a bunch of blogs and just programs that were pertaining to like the sounds in casinos and gambling areas. One of them, one of the blogs that I looked at had research from a professor, the name Professor Skinner from Harvard, and he explored how gambling addicts arise from flawed thinking, brain chemistry, and habitual behavior. So, from that, we can kind of build off the fact that gambling is a behavior that a learned behavior, and how it is conditioned is through like the sounds that we hear in a casino. So that one had really good links that we could pursue further. The next one looked into that the pitches of slot machines. It was an interesting study that slot machines could influence people to make more informed decisions if the pitches were lower. Higher pitch sounds were kind of like instigating. They were loud and they were obnoxious, and I think it says that it triggered gamblers and passerbyers to be enticed to play and just made them more inclined to. And then that has also research funded from Professor Del Fabro of Adelaide University. So those are both published kind of pieces. The next one was just a random site that I found. It was called SoundSnap, and it had various sounds of like casinos, like machine coins dropping or winning tones and beeps, and like an internet user can just visit the site and click it, and it would play those sounds for them. I guess if people were really addicted to gambling or something, they could just access that, and it just proves further how much the sounds construct that gambling experience. The next part of my research involves simulated gambling environments. People have taken this idea of noisy manipulation, and they wanted to explore like how it physically exhibited itself in people who gambled frequently or people who gambled for their first time, and they saw like chemical imbalances in people. Sounds like made them dilate their pupils, and rises in chemical hormones like cortisol. So it would lead them to think of things like they would wager more because they think they were winning because of the sounds, but in reality the screen would read that they were losing, but the sounds would like convince them otherwise. So I thought that study was interesting. And then finally, I wasn't able to read the full article of this one because I think it's under like research copyright, but it was a psychophysical and psychological response to the sights and sounds and payback percentages of slot machines, as performed by Professor Dixon of the University of Waterloo. And that is just very much in line with the idea that the sounds of a gambling casino or a gambling environment are pretty indicative and characteristic of those kind of behaviors. Next, I want to look into the outline that was on the Google Doc. My comments on the outline were that I think I like the structure of it a lot. I believe section one should really discuss material energy and help us build our beginning to our paper. And the question that says, can we use Kuhl and Frost's intro for this? I strongly believe that we should, because as I was reading through the intro, there was a sentence that I kind of strung together that was off of their concepts that I wrote, and I wrote, the theory of sound as a strong force is becoming more applicable and present in our retroactive analysis of various phenomena in the human psyche. especially in the way that bodies compose their natural environment in ways that are meaningful for them. And that last part was a direct quote from Cole and Frost. I think it would be really, really beneficial for us to begin with that, because it's a really strong argument for sound becoming something that composes its natural environment, that it's active and it's not static like our previous notions of it. And then we could go into our discussions of the vibrant matter and Jane Bennett's per point of view with that. More comments on the outline is when it says roadmap, question mark, intro scenes. I believe this is where we should put in our case studies. I think it's nice to familiarize our readers or our audience with something that they understand and they can grasp, which is our case studies. And then we can go into more abstract discussion about soundscapes and the issues that it says, like in the outline, issues surrounding soundscapes as a collective term, and how controversial or under discussion soundscapes are. So I think that was all of the comments I had for the outline that was on our Google Doc. And finally, a little bit on my short story. Other than what you can read from the 5 to 6 sentences that I composed there, I just wanted to reiterate the fact that I think our goal for our paper is to support the notion of sound as vital matter, that we need to really keep going back to Jane's arguments about sound, or not our arguments about sound as vital matter, but then making those parallels so that it's falls well with the scholarship. Also, I want to emphasize the fact that sound provides more information and influence than its previously accepted form, as vital matter has also the same argument that there's more to just matter. It's not as static anymore, it's constructive and it's forward. And then finally, I think we should go above in our paper and end with a strong concept that it contests visual media as the top contender for literacy, that we need audio literacy programs to further emphasize the importance of sound and how tangible it is in our experiences as constructing place, and then kind of going back on our case studies. So yeah, I hope that covers everything. And if you guys like the case study, we can look into that further of gambling. If you guys wanted to look more into the Skype part, I think my research from 2 weeks ago would suffice for that. We were looking into the pitches there of using a Skype program. So yeah, thank you.